So again, welcome everybody to the IDE and Public Reporting Access for All, How the Weiss Center Can Support You webinar. I am Shylin Wooten, and I'm a part of the Weiss Center Technical Assistance team. And I am joined here with my colleague, Tori Adamson, who is also part of the Weiss Center Technical Assistance team as an accessibility expert.
Yes, thank you so much, Shylin. I'm very excited to be here.
So today we want to kind of give an overview of where the Weiss Center has been the past couple of years and where we are planning to go as we enter a new federal fiscal year. Then we'll talk about the services the Weiss Center offers to state education agencies and lead agencies. We'll give an overview of the Weiss Center website and how you can access our products and resources on that site. We'll talk about our most recent product that we published called the Accessibility Maturity Roadmap. We'll talk about our document accessibility toolkit, the community of practice that you can join, or maybe you've already been involved in. The Weiss Center's technology product called the Accessible Data Analysis and Publishing Tool, also known as ADAPT. How we approach technical assistance within the Weiss Center, and then coming up next, what we have planned for the next federal fiscal year and how you can get involved with the Weiss Center either through TA or through our products. So for the Weiss Center services that we offer, we ultimately aim to improve knowledge about accessibility needs, standards, best practices, and how to apply them within the context of IDEA data in your state education agency or lead agency, if you're a part of Part C program. We aim to build skills and competencies needed to make state-level data more accessible and dynamic formats, and then ultimately enhancing the ability to share that knowledge and competency you gain about accessibility with other states, your local education agencies, or your early intervention programs. And our ultimate goal is expanding access to data for groups that have traditionally lacked opportunities to engage with it, to ultimately enhance the data quality through broader use and analysis. We always talk about how the data we work with is made up of many individuals who have IEPs or IFSPs, and this is ultimately their data, and making it accessible allows all people to engage with it.
We do have a poll. So we are going to put that up on your screen here. And we want to know if you are part of a state lead agency or a state education agency, or it may be that you know that you're part of Part B or Part C. So we'll just give just a few seconds to answer that. So right now we're kind of, it looks like we're kind of split right now, with only 6 people answering, but that's okay. I'll leave it up for just a little bit longer.
Welcome those from OSEP. Looks like we didn't have that option on this poll. Welcome.
All right. Well, thank you for those who answered. We definitely appreciate it. And we'll keep going on to our next slide.
So thank you, Tori. So now we'll give a quick overview of the Weiss Center website. And then to start off, we do have another poll. And we just want to know, have you accessed the Weiss Center website before? Could be to access the products that we have published, information on events, general information on the Weiss Center. Well, it looks like we're getting a lot of responses in. Looks like so far we have more yeses than nos.
That's good.
Great.
Yeah, we'll leave it up for just a little bit longer, probably about another 15 seconds or so. Again, we want to make sure that you guys have the opportunity to answer.
Wow, that's great. It looks like 11 out of 15 or so 73% of participants in the poll have access to Weiss Center website. That's great.
That is great. All right. So let's move on.
Thank you, Tori. So if you haven't had a chance to access the Weiss Center website, I'll put a link in the chat in just a moment. But When you go to the Weiss Center website, this will be your main conduit to get information on the Weiss Center. This is a screenshot of the homepage, and you'll see you can access the About section of the Weiss Center, and there you'll get more information on the team, the center. There are a couple of videos in there that consist of our directors talking about the Weiss Center mission. Here, you'll also find the tab to our resources page where all the products we talk about today will be there, among many others, including blogs. We have many blogs on a variety of topics, including celebrating the recent 35th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act, how the Title II updates will affect your agency, among many other accessibility topics. You'll also find the accessibility maturity roadmap that we talk about nested in this resources section. And we also have an events tab where you can get more information on upcoming webinars, as well as videos that consist of recordings of webinars that we've done in the past. And one thing we'll talk about in a few moments is our Adapt tool. And here you can access the Adapt tab, and within this tab, you'll find information on Adapt. You'll find videos on Adapt and its functionalities, and then a Contact Us tab, of course, if you ever want to get in touch with us and receive TA, and we'll talk about that toward the end. But of course, feel free to ask any questions once we get to that point.
Mhm. And look at that, we've got another poll. And with this one, we want to know if you've actually not just visited our site, but have you actually utilized any of our services offered by the Weiss Center? Oh wow! So it's a little flipped from those who have accessed the site. So a lot of people have accessed the site, but it seems like most people have not utilized our services. Well, I'm glad that we're having our webinar today so that you can learn more about what services we offer. I'm going to leave it up. Yeah, leave it up for about another 20 seconds or so. We can try to give people enough time to answer. Yeah, it looks like we have an 80-20 split. 80% of people have not utilized any services offered by the Weiss Center, with 20% of, about 20% have accessed or utilized our services. All right. With that, we are going to move on to the next slide. And Shilan, take it away with the Accessibility Maturity Roadmap.
Thank you, Tori. This is a perfect segue. So now we can start talking a little bit about the recent products that we published. And our most recent one that we're really excited about is called the Accessibility Maturity Roadmap. And we'll go over that. We'll give an overview in a slide in a moment. But really, the reason this roadmap is important is that it gives you an opportunity to evaluate and understand your agency's accessibility maturity. It helps you understand how well your agency has embedded accessibility into its cultures, policies and procedures, practices, and digital infrastructure. It drives better procurement and vendor accountability. Thinking of the recent Title II updates, it'll give you a clearer picture of your legal and compliance risk. It signals to your partners that your agency takes accessibility seriously, and it ultimately improves the user experience for everyone. And the real special thing about this roadmap is it can be a facilitated guide. You can facilitate it how you choose to do within your agency, but we also have TA available here at the Weiss Center to help you facilitate your accessibility processes through this roadmap. And so the Accessibility Maturity Roadmap is designed for state Part B and Part C agencies to implement an accessible IDA data system. And in just a moment, we'll talk about that could either mean procuring a new data system through a vendor type system, or retrofitting your current IDA data system to make it accessible. Within the maturity roadmap, there are 5 components: purpose and vision, system design and development, data governance and management, data use and analysis, and sustainability. You may recognize these from other TA Center frameworks, including the DAISY Data System Framework and the IDEA Data System Data Center Data System Framework. And we really intended to try to align these as best as possible to make it easier for you at states to kind of, as you're working on your data systems, being able to align each piece. So how does this roadmap help you as a state and the state education agency or lead agency implement an accessible data system? Well, it provides you with the structured tool that takes the guesswork out of making your data system accessible. So within those 5 components, it'll give you things to consider, whether, again, you're contemplating a new data system or if you're looking to retrofit your current data system to make it accessible. And within this roadmap, it not only looks at the everyday activities that are involved with maintaining an IDEA data system, but it also looks at the long-term activities to incorporate a culture of accessibility within your organization. And most importantly, it doesn't leave leadership out. The leadership within your state education agency or your lead agency is a key part of the facilitation of this roadmap. And it's a key driver in ensuring that culture shift occurs to establish that culture of accessibility within your agency to sustain your efforts in implementing a accessible IDEA data system. Weiss Center TA in action. And like I mentioned, when you think about the facilitation of this product or this roadmap, if you've had a chance to look at it or haven't looked at it yet, when you look at it, this can be facilitated by Weiss Center TAs. And one point of emphasis with this roadmap is that this roadmap is just to be approachable in whatever point you're at in developing a data system. Again, whether you're implementing a new one or retrofitting your current data system. So, for example, if you're a lead agency or a state education agency that wants to create accessible data visualizations, then you could start with the data use and analysis component. Again, there's really no wrong place in where you start with this roadmap, and we're able to help wherever you may be at. And within each component, just like the DAISY Data System Framework and the IDC Data System Framework, each component contains quality indicators where you can evaluate where you currently are with your system and within your agency, and ultimately where you would like to go with making your data system accessible.
All right. So our final poll question is going into our next section, which is we want to know how you would rate your knowledge when it comes to accessibility. Would you consider yourself a novice, maybe someone in intermediate knowledge? Do you have advanced knowledge, or would you consider yourself an expert? This is for you to rate yourself. So whatever you think, wherever you think you fall. Okay. Got a good amount of answers across the board. That's good to see. Not everyone is a novice. Not everyone considers themselves an expert. So that's okay. Leaving it for about another 10 seconds or so. All right. So it looks like a third of people responded that they consider themselves a novice. Another third considers themselves intermediate. And our third, if you will, is split between advanced and expert knowledge. So thank you for everyone who answered that. I promise that is our last poll. So you don't have to worry about making another selection on anything. But I'm going to lead us into our document accessibility toolkit. This is a really great resource for you to utilize when you are looking at making your documents accessible. And what that means is making sure that any information that you are putting out into the public, if you will, or just even within your SEA or LA is accessible. We want to ensure that anybody can access it if they maybe have low vision and they're maybe using a screen reader. Maybe they have a learning disability and they need things read out loud to them. We want to make sure that everything is read in a coherent and a cohesive way. So within our toolkit, we do have an accessibility guide when it comes to Microsoft Word. Of course, this is the one program or app that we use for most of our writing of reports and things like that. But we do also have an accessibility guide for Excel, which is also part of Microsoft Suite, because that's where you're going to be putting in a lot of your data, right? That's where you're going to put in all of the sort of numbers and those quantitative data systems. Then we also have accessibility guide for PowerPoint. Of course, this is very important when we are sharing information with others. And because again, there's a certain way to do it. Do we have good color contrast? Making sure that our header on each slide is contrasting enough with the background. You don't want to necessarily have a gray text on a white background or vice versa. It's hard to see for really just about anybody. So we want to ensure that you are providing accessible PowerPoints. We do also have a guide on writing alternative text. So what this is basically the adage of a picture's worth 1,000 words. Again, for someone who may have low vision or is blind, maybe sometimes someone who has a cognitive disability or just needs a little bit more explanation on what an image may be, what we do is we want to ensure that they can access that. Right? So alternative text is all about describing the image. It could be a photograph, it could be a graphic, it could be even a table, it could be a chart, all sorts of things. So we help in that as well. And finally, we do have some plain language, if you will. So a guide on making public reporting requirements, putting that into plain language. So this is very valuable for those who maybe have, again, maybe a cognitive or intellectual disability. Maybe they are an older adult, accessing information for their grandchild who's in school. It could be someone who's learning English as a second language. We want to ensure that what is being provided is at a reading level that everyone's going to be able to understand. A lot of us who work in this space may type something up and we think, oh, that's clear and concise. But then if we put it through maybe a system to check it for us, it's going to say that it's at like a grade, 15, which would be, of course, college or even, a graduate school level. So we want to bring it down and make sure that everyone can understand it, but we aren't losing the meaning in that information. And again, we have all of those available for you. And of course, that's where we come in to help with our technical assistance. We can help in making infographics with your data, whether it's Part B or Part C, and again, ensuring that is accessible to everyone. And again, this does include people with disabilities. Again, they may have a cognitive disability, they may have a vision disability, all sorts of things like that. We're also available to help in reviewing your documents, whether it's Microsoft Word or Excel or PowerPoint, to again make sure that they are accessible. And if they're not, that is okay. We can help in providing you some support in how you can improve that document accessibility. And again, we're also here to help with that readability. Again, making sure that it's plain language, providing those ideas that can be accessible and inclusive to everybody. So again, definitely reach out if you have any questions about that. We're happy to assist. That's what we do. So we're going to move on a little bit more into our community of practice specifically. So with our community of practice here at the Weiss Center, We are here for you, state staff, who are involved with that IDEA data, communications, and also information technology. We meet bi monthly, and this is to help you build your skills and competency to make sure that that state level data, again, is accessible in many different formats. Again, we provide that accessibility training. We also discuss our efforts between each other to help and increase that accessibility. If you have a question, you're welcome to ask it, and maybe someone within that group says, "Hey, I had the same issue. Here's what we did to fix it." So it's a great way to build off of each other. But of course, it also is a great time for you to meet with us, the Weiss Center experts, to ask any questions that we will definitely have the answer to, or at least can point you in the right direction. And what's great about this is that we have had participants from several states. In fact, the majority of the 50 states and 56, territories and states have participated. At least one person has participated in our community of practice. Have to give it up for Arizona. We've had 6 people attend our community of practice. So that's great to see, as well as North Carolina. North Carolina has also had 6 participants. But you'll see that we've, again, have several states that we still haven't had any participation from, but that's okay. We can still have you guys join in. So if you haven't joined yet for a community of practice, be on the lookout, because again, we do meet bi-monthly. So if you would like to participate, you can get in touch with us, and we will gladly assist. Again, if you are part of a state education agency, if you're part of a local education agency, maybe even just a lead agency or an early intervention service agency. Again, we are happy to include you, and it's a great way to, again, build off of each other. And with that, I am going to pass it back over to Shylin to talk about ADAPT.
Thank you, Tori. So, as mentioned, I want to talk a little bit about the Weiss Center technology tool that we developed called ADAPT. And ADAPT stands for the Accessible Data Analysis and Publishing Tool, also known as ADAPT. And ADAPT is a freely available, modern, accessible, cloud-based reporting tool that you can use as a Part C or Part B agency to outwardly report Section 618 and 618 data for both Part C and Part B. And through the creation of these public reports for Section 618 and 618 data, it will allow data managers to create and publish reports that are accessible for people with disabilities and accessible for everyone. And so the benefits of implementing ADAPT is, as mentioned, ADAPT offers a comprehensive list of report templates for Part B and Part C, including child count, which is a part of the Section 618 reporting requirements, service providers, dispute resolutions, and it meets the specific public reporting requirements outlined under IDEA Sections 616 and 618. And simultaneously, it also has undergone rigorous user testing to ensure it meets and exceeds the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, also known as WCAG 2.2, and best practices. For you as a state, the benefits are it will save you time. As a former data manager myself in a Part C program, I wish I had this tool back when I was working. It will save you time uploading data and meeting those public reporting requirements, but also it will be accessible and allow people with disabilities to engage with the data. And so here are a couple report screenshots from ADAPT, just a little taste of what ADAPT looks like if you implement it and someone went on to the ADAPT tool to look at a report. This, for example, is of the IDEA assessment report. And so you can see it'll give you a quick summary on what an individual is looking at through this report. On the right side, you'll see a screenshot that gives a table that will outline the data within the specific report that an individual is looking at. And it's really small, but there are a couple of toggles where if you click it, it will explain the table in plain language, as well as provide the individual a glossary. And within these tables, you can also filter and sort by the different variables within the specific report they're looking at. And as mentioned, and something we'll talk about in just a moment is we can offer ADAPT demonstrations to states. So if you're interested in learning more about ADAPT and these reports and how you might be able to implement it in your state, please reach out and we can set up a time that works for you to go through ADAPT in a more comprehensive. And so, and another key point about ADAPT is that it is accessible, and we really want to highlight the accessibility settings that the public can access and that you can access too if you're an administrator. And so when going on ADAPT, you can adjust the accessibility settings to make text size larger or smaller. You can adjust the spacing for better readability. And you can change the color theme to reduce eye strain or improve visibility. And we know that individuals may access websites and content in different ways these days, so the layout can be adjusted and changed for either web or mobile devices. All right, and now I'll turn it back to Tori to talk a little bit about the Weiss Center Technical Assistance Vault.
Yes, thank you so much, Shylin. So a lot of times we do refer to technical assistance as just TA, but know that that is what TA stands for, is our technical assistance. We do have a wonderful team here at the Weiss Center for our state TA liaisons. We actually have them divided up into our Part B liaisons as well as our Part C. So if you have worked with any of our TA liaisons, you may fall into one of these, and you may have worked with one of these individuals who are listed. So just know that if you are part of either Part B or Part C, these are some of the individuals that you may be working with. But what's great about our TA model is that this is support that is provided to you through universal, targeted, and intensive technical assistance. Okay, so it's not just going to be really broad. We want to make sure that it is targeted to what you need and what is needed for the public, as well as everybody you come into contact with. Our support is here to be individualized to what your state needs, and in a context, through a partnership of IDEA and those accessibility experts I mentioned earlier. Because, of course, we all have very different setups, if you will, when it comes from, what goes by state, right? So, for example, I'm here in Georgia, Shylin's in Alaska. Very different, right? Very, very different. So, again, we want to make sure that it is individualized for your particular state. Our liaisons are here to also collaborate with other OSEP-funded technical assistance centers. For those of you who want a little bit more, so the Office of Special Education Programs, and that is through the federal government, through the Department of Education. But we are here with those other technical assistance centers to help in ensuring seamless support for whatever you may need. Again, for those IDEA supports that you might need or accessibility, that's what we're here for. And then we are going to have a couple of little highlights. We are so thankful that we were able to receive some information and kind of a testimony, if you will, from a couple of states. So when it comes to Part B, we spoke with Arizona. Again, Arizona is the one who has 6 participants in our community of practice. But for Arizona, they recently received support in our Part B technical assistance team. And specifically for the Department of Education Exceptional Student Services team, and looking at developing an accessibility disclaimer statement for their annual state special education conference. And this is a great way to serve as an articulation of the commitment that Arizona has to ensuring all of their conference participants could access every session, all of their materials, and all of the experiences. That's really important, right? Again, that's not great if you're missing out on one or more elements. And we helped in ensuring that they could provide clear information on how those participants can request accommodations, and make known their special accessibility needs. Again, in case they needed maybe a large print format of a conference program, or they needed something, again, maybe in that plain language we talked about, all sorts of things. So we are so excited that we were able to assist Arizona with that conference. And then for our Part C highlight, we want to showcase Tennessee. So we worked with them. It was particularly our Part C technical assistance team, and we were supporting them, in their early intervention system. To help in strengthening its accessibility for the publicly reported data for IDEA. And we really focused on different strategies, such as using clear and consistent headings. So making sure that things are broken apart, with subheadings and things like that for easy navigation. We looked at adding alternative text to graphics, again, as I mentioned earlier, and formatting tables so they are compatible with screen readers. That is very important. A lot of times with tables, we want to make them look a certain way, but sometimes it may not be accessible when it comes to using different assistive technologies like a screen reader. We also help them in taking important steps to ensure that everyone can meaningfully engage with critical information about early intervention services. We want to ensure that those who need those early intervention services are getting the services, but also getting just the information about services, because you can't really get the services unless you know what you're looking into, right? So again, we were able to assist with that. And thank you so much to Tennessee for your testimonial. And I'm going to toss it over to Shylin one more time to talk about what's coming up over the next year.
Thank you, Tori. So yeah, we've done a lot of looking back during this webinar, and now we want to look forward, look for the future, and talk a little bit about what we're excited about that we have coming up and how you can get engaged with the Weiss Center. So moving forward, we plan on continuing those ADAPT demonstrations and implementations that I mentioned a few slides ago. And again, if you're interested in learning more, please feel free to reach out. We intend on increasing our focus on targeted and intensive TAs, so really working with states at an individual level and looking at what your accessibility needs are in the context of your state. Like Tori mentioned, we're all so different where we come from and our agencies in particular. So really want to put a focus on that and providing customized TA to you. In terms of products and resources, we have upcoming blogs on Braille access and accessible social media tips. We have a product in the works on incorporating accessibility standards and best practices into the state procurement process. We're working on a guide related to holding accessible meetings, which we've heard a lot of interest in. And then we're also working on incorporating accessibility standards and best practices into data governance systems. And so a call to action, reach out to your TA liaison for more information on how the Weiss Center can support you in your state. We have been sending out monthly emails to our assigned states. So if you haven't received one, please feel free to reach out to the Weiss Center and we can connect you with your liaison, and our liaisons can arrange a more detailed presentation on ADAPT, as mentioned, the document accessibility toolkit, or anything else mentioned today, including the accessibility maturity roadmap. And again, reach out if you're interested in an ADAPT demo. and sign up for the Weiss Center newsletter to stay up to date on the resources and supports that we offer and the development of our planned products coming up into the future. And I think now we will open up to any questions.
Seems like we covered it all. I don't know that we have any questions.
Well, thank you so much, everybody. We do have an evaluation that we would love your input on. I'm going to plug the evaluation link into the chat. And if you could just take a few minutes to complete the evaluation survey, and we would really appreciate it. And I see in the chat, we have a question, where can we sign up for the newsletter? Emily, I know I think you're on the call. Do you have a link by any chance? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, perfect.
Just put it in the chat.
Great. And our newsletter sent out every quarter. We just sent out our September newsletter wrapping up this quarter last week. So be on the lookout for our next newsletter right at the end of the year. But yes, look out for those. And then also being on that mailing list, you'll also get our webinar announcements.
Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining, and give you some time back in your day. And again, feel free to reach out if you need anything, and hopefully we'll talk soon.
Thank you, everyone.